Hi, this is Peter from Franke de la Fuente. We're talking about the KYC process, anti-money laundering regulations, and this is part 2 because we want to do now to talk about the requirements for real estate agencies in Spain. Previously, we were discussing it from a lawyer's point of view and the obligations that we have, but now real estate agents, listen. With me is Raquel Parrado.
Thank you.
All right, so let's dig in here. Which are the actual obligations for a real estate agency or agent when it comes to MIL obligations?
So real estate agencies are obliged under the Spanish law to comply with AML regulations. So they're an entity such as we are or banks are, and they have to go through certain criteria and comply with them. The basic ones apply to all entities that are obliged under this law, which is identify the clients, the KYC that we mentioned in our prior video process, basically by passports, identification of the client and source of funds. Either if they're buying through a company or as natural persons, then they can start to request certain additional documentation. But for the agencies, the basic document they need is the confirmation of origin of funds and passport for the initial stage.
Right. Quick summary. Again, know your customer. For real estate agents, they need to know the identity of their customers.
Identification, passports.
Yes, and the origin of the funds.
Correct.
Where is the money coming from?
Exactly.
Basically, right?
Just like that.
That's the easy breakdown.
Yes.
Okay, so what kind of internal protocols then would you recommend for a real estate agency? What do they need to, what kind of structure do they need to have internally for this?
So internally, they must have a good training session to say with all the members of the agency, so they all know what they have to comply with. Also, a member must be appointed as the AML compliance officer in the agency.
I believe you are in our office.
Yes, and they must, of course, update and inform all of the workers of the agency with what they need to implement. The basic and most easy way for the agency to go over this initial step is with the KYC form. In this KYC form, the client will complete and forward to the client, and they will indicate where the funds are coming from, their civil status, what is their intent for the purchase, second residency, etc. And they will get a very general overview. And if then they disclose certain red flags, they can, of course, forward it to us once we initiate the reservation contract.
To investigate further.
Exactly, to investigate further.
But the KYC form should be in the offices of real estate agencies.
Yes, also.
Am I right?
Yes, you're totally correct.
And they should be trained.
Yes, they should be trained.
They should know about this.
Yes, because they are obliged under the law.
All right. And so, can you give us an example of what kind of red flags are we talking about? When is it a duty to actually investigate a little bit further?
Of course. So the major red flag is when the client does not want to collaborate in providing documentation. So if you're insisting with the client to provide the basic, which is passport copies and maybe their KYC form completed, and they're very hesitant to provide this, this is when you must, of course, take a step back and assess the situation and see how long you have been waiting for this basic documentation. And if so necessary, we'll make the communication to us, let us know about the situation, and then we will investigate further. Of course, we will contact the client, let them know that we need the same documentation, and according to the client, the information they provide, background, we can know if needed to assess further or not.
Yeah. So to use a non-legal term, when things are a little bit fishy, you need to check further.
Yes,
am I right?
Correct.
Okay. Well, I think that covers most of it. Thank you, Raquel, for explaining this even further. And if you're a real estate agency and you haven't maybe now your protocols in place, you can reach out to us and perhaps we can help you with that.
Of course.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.